because I accepted what was being said. After I looked at it, no way. We pride ourselves with the free press. I do not believe the free press is free anymore. It's very expensive. It's very expensive. And the press is saying what they have been told to say about this.
And as you can see, those subtitles with this interview with Albert Stubblbein, they're in German. And it just so happens, with this interview airing in Germany, 90% of Germans don't believe the official story of 9/11. And for those that believe in the Bible does mention the edges of the earth, the four corners of the earth, and how Satan brought Jesus Christ to the top of the mountain and showed him all kingdoms of the world. How can Satan show Jesus all kingdoms of the world if the world is round? How can there be edges of the world if the world's a sphere? I've never seen the edges on a sphere before. And the Bible also mentions how the earth is immovable and is set on pillars. So for the believers that still believe in the ball earth, the round earth, got to reconsider. According to science and the satanic system, the earth is supposedly tilted at a 23.4 degree angle off vertical. And that leaves you at 66.6 degrees off horizontal. Now, what are the chances of that? And for those that might have questions on how the sun, the moon, and the seasons work, take a look at these models for a better understanding.
We go back to the USGS model, and you see that it was first proposed 1,000 years ago, and you may think, well, that's a bad link. So you compare it with the person who proposed it, and you get this guy, Al-Biruni. Who was Al-Biruni? Well, he lived around 1,000 years ago and was considered one of the greatest scholars of his era, schooled in multiple sciences. Have you ever heard of him? I hadn't. Maybe it's multiple bad references in Wiki. Well, no, because NASA knows who he is and named this moon crater after him. So why is the USGS using a version of the world map designed by a 1,000-year-old Persian scientist? Because it's correct. That's why. So to be clear, let's compare them again. The United Nations flag, the USGS official map of the Earth, and the Flat Earth model. All identical, but one isn't recognized and instead ridiculed as an outdated look at the world.
With all the videos I'm making on the Flat Earth, I get the same question every day. Not just once a day, multiple times. So I'm going to make another video on this, go into depth, talk about the sun on the Flat Earth. People always say they don't understand the concept of the Flat Earth. If the Earth is flat, wouldn't the whole entire Flat Earth be illuminated? Just take a look at this image of the sunbeams coming through the clouds. If you believe at this angle that the sun is 93 million miles away, you're never going to understand. You're never going to get it. Look at the angle again. So, if the sun approximately 3,000 miles away, say for example, you're in Los Angeles, and you see how the sunbeams again are coming to the clouds. Do you expect, say Russia or China, to be receiving sunlight when you see the sun come through the clouds like this? Just another example. More of the same here. The beams coming through here. Another example right here. How obvious can it be? The sun is nowhere near 93 million miles away. So again, don't expect to see sunlight in Australia and in South America at the same time when you see this. clear as day. Only to wake up and realize they must unlearn what they have learned. Again, showing this model here, as I showed many times. To play this clip. This is not actually to scale, but basically how the sun works over the flat earth. Just like here in the United States. As I showed in my previous video, I'm going to show this again, just so people understand how this model is shown. Now let's take a look at actual footage, like I showed in my previous video, of the sun circling above the flat earth. Towards the end of this footage, you're going to see it's not going around the supposed ball. It's just circling above the flat earth, just as demonstrated in the model. When people look at the sun, they don't give it much thought. When you look at this time-lapse footage, pretty obvious what's taking place. Another thing to mention, as I said so many times, you'll see the sun and the moon above the flat earth at the same time. Take a look at this right here as it's moving out of perspective. It's getting dark. Is the sun going around the supposed ball or just moving out of sight? You be the judge, but it's pretty clear. Now let's take a look at this footage. For those that are awake to the flat earth, like I showed before, with this Universal Studios footage from 1927. Again, as I mentioned before, supposedly the first time they took a photo of Earth from space was in 1946. Here's an article from Air and Space magazine. Like I said, 1946. Supposedly the German rocket that was captured by the U.S. military. They used a V-2, again, German rocket, to launch into space to take this photo. I find this funny how you see the clouds above the supposed ball Earth. Complete joke. I find it funny, again, just taking a look at the ball Earth and this image, and just imagining all this water in these oceans somehow sticking to the ball Earth. I'll get into that a little bit. I'm going to play this clip, and again, this is nothing more than programming. Completely ridiculous to believe that all that water in those oceans could be held on while the Earth is supposedly rotating. This is programming at its finest. Now, we want to talk about the ball Earth all day. I want people that believe in the ball Earth and believe it's crazy to believe we live on a flat plane, for them to demonstrate, show me a model of water sticking to a ball. Okay, I can show a model of the flat Earth. There you go. Got this flat dish, filled up with water, and these are the ice rings that surround the flat Earth. Demonstrate a model of the ball Earth. You can't. It's never been duplicated as a model. Complete joke how people fall for the lies. So-called truthers say they're awake, but they have no evidence that we live in a ball. They don't believe NASA. They understand that NASA is nothing but a psyop, nothing but propaganda, but they can't get past the lies of the ball Earth. They're programmed. Unfortunately, they don't want to be ridiculed and not believe that everything is a lie, when in actuality, everything is a lie. Everything we're told is the exact opposite. Here's a good example of that. Look at this ride at a state fair. Gravitron. And what do you see here? As the ride goes in motion, the kids are being pushed against the outside as the faster it spins. Now, take a look at this. Again, supposed ball Earth spinning at 1,100 miles an hour. How is this possible? How can you have water like this, like glass on a spinning ball? Makes no sense. Again, everything on opposites. The funny thing about the ride's name, exact opposite of gravity. Completely ridiculous. Like I said before, someone laughed when I mentioned, if the Earth was spinning at 1,100 miles an hour, how the water would fly off. They thought that was funny. I think it's funny when you look at this. Again, this is exactly what should happen. If the Earth is spinning, the water will be flying off. This is the so-called elite. They know the Earth is flat, and they're laughing at those that believe the lies.